The Iron Cross HD Series rear bumper will be a bulletproof option for the 09 to 14 truck owners who are looking to go with a steel aftermarket option and would prefer to keep that price point beneath $1,000. Now, the USA-made HD will pack incredibly tough 10-gauge steel along with this textured black powder coat, however, will not include holes for those factory backup sensors, so equipped F-150s will need to drill. Install will be all muscle and might involve some drilling, as we just pointed out. So let's go middle of the road, 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, and we will have a more detailed walkthrough later in the video. So for those who don't know, Iron Cross is known for building some really rock solid products that manage to stay relatively affordable amongst other aftermarket bumper options in the category. And best of all, they pack a ton of strength. And that is certainly going to be the case here when considering the HD option on the table. Again, 10-gauge steel build, which has been fully welded both inside and out. Now the bumper is finished off in a rather unique textured satin black powder coat. Yeah, it's got a little bit of shine to it, however, I don't think I'd call this a gloss finish. The bumper panels and the Iron Cross logos have been CNC'd into that 10 gauge. And then finally, you're looking at 2 1-inch clevis mounts right here, guys, which will accept a 3/4 or 7/8 D-ring. Now, in my opinion, guys, aftermarket steel bumpers can get pretty radical in regards to appearance or design, so much so that sometimes they don't even flow with the rest of the truck. Well, in my opinion, the HD here is a very safe design and one that easily flows with the looks of the 09 to 14 trucks. However, as we did point out earlier, guys, these things do not come pre-drilled for those factory backup sensors, so if your truck is equipped, then you will need to tackle that one on your own. Also important to point out is that the Iron Cross does include some new license plate bulbs that you will need to wire in as well. It's extremely simple to do, basic power and ground stuff, but it is worth noting. And speaking of that install, to give you a better idea of what you're in for here with the Iron Cross HD, here is an AT Tech with a walkthrough.
So what's required for this install? 3/8 drive ratchet, a 1/2-inch drive ratchet, a 13/16 socket, a 19mm socket, 10mm socket, 3/8 drive extension, a 19mm wrench, a screwdriver, and wire strippers. We're going to begin this installation by removing the factory bumper. The first step, we're going to disconnect all the lights and the sensors. So if your bumper is equipped with rear parking sensors, you'll need to unplug those as well. However, this only has license plate lights, so we're going to get started on that. So to remove the license plate light, we're just going to take it, we're going to turn it counterclockwise, 1/4 of a turn. It'll unlock and then you can pull it out. So 1/4 turn clockwise, that'll unlock, then you can pull the light. So after you've disconnected all your sensors and lights, you're ready to remove the bolts out of the bumper. There's 3 bolts on either side of the bumper. There's 1 on the bottom and there's going to be 2 up on top. So we're going to use a 10mm socket to remove those and then we'll pull the bumper off. One's a little tricky to get and it's up here on the inside of the frame rail. Next we're going to remove this bottom 10mm. And then we're going to remove this top one here. Now we're going to do the same thing for the other side. At this point in time, it would be a good idea to have someone hold the other side of the bumper while we remove these last 3 bolts. Now that we have all the bolts out and I have a helper, we're going to pull this bumper off. So now that we have our factory bumper off, it's time to switch over some of the pieces. We're going to begin by removing the license plate light housings. To do that, we're just going to press in on the one side. And then we'll push it out and pull it all the way out. We're just going to push in on this top tab. It's going to poke through, then we're going to push it all the way through, and just pull it out of the plastic. So now that we have our bumper removed, we're ready to install our new bumper brackets. That requires removing this triple bolt plate. We're going to use a 13/16 to remove the nuts off of the back. So after we've removed all of our nuts, we're going to support the hitch on one side, We're going to remove this plate. Now we're going to stick this through our new bracket. We want this top edge facing so that these are vertical. Then we're going to place that back through and reinstall our nuts. Now that these are back on, we can go and do the other side. We're going to do the same thing for the other side. We're going to support the hitch, remove the 3 nuts on the back, and then pull the bolt plate out. Now we're going to insert our bolt plate through the bracket and then back through the hitch into the frame. So the next step before we get our bumper put on, we're going to need to wire in the new license plate lights that are provided. This is going to require you to cut the factory plug off and wire the new one in. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So first we're going to take our light and we're going to strip the wires. Then we'll take our factory light. We're going to take our factory plug. And we're going to cut that off. We're going to take our 2 wires and we're going to strip those. So next we're going to take our butt connector. We're going to slide that on. Crimp the end. Now we're going to connect our 12 volt to our positive on our harness. So we're going to insert that in there. Do the same thing. Take our butt connector, crimp the end. Now we're going to attach our ground to our ground. And we'll do the same thing for the other side. We're going to begin by cutting our factory plug off. And we're going to strip both of our ends. And we'll take our new light, strip those, and then we'll get our butt connectors. We're going to crimp our positive to our positive and our negative to our negative. Now before we get this bumper installed, we're going to swap over some parts. This bumper does not accept the factory spare tire lock, so we're just going to install the new light housings that are provided. These will just push right in. These will just push right in, and now we're ready to install it on the vehicle. So now that we have our bumper brackets installed and our new lights are wired up, I'm going to get an assistant to help me lift this bumper up and we're going to install it. So using the hardware provided, we're going to install a bolt with a washer through our bracket holes. And then on the other side, we're going to put a washer, a lock washer, and a nut. So now that we have all of our hardware in, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to push up on the hitch and we're going to tighten down these 3 nuts. This is going to set the height of the bumper, and then we can adjust it from there. So we're going to use that same 13/16 to tighten these up. So now that we have our frame-mounted brackets tightened up, we're going to go ahead and adjust the bumper and tighten that up. We're going to use a 19mm socket and wrench. And we're going to do the same thing for the other side. Adjust it to the desired height, and then tighten it up using those 19 millimeters. Next step, we're going to plug the lights in. So we're going to push those into their sockets, turn them a quarter turn clockwise, and lock them in place. Same thing goes for the other side. Into its socket, quarter-inch clockwise, lock it in place. Now with everything adjusted, tightened up, you're ready to reinstall your license plate. That wraps up our review and install. Check out more at AmericanTrucks.com.